Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 36. I don't think we've got anything crazy planned to talk about this time around. We have Jeremy on, because we initially didn't think Luke would be back from his move, or would have internet after his move to Tennessee. But he does, so he's here as well. And then we've got the usual cast, Richie, Cody, and myself. And I think the name of the game this time, at least for the three of us, me, Richie, and Cody, it's just Badlands prep, right? We've got that in a couple weeks, and I know my shit still needs a ton to get done to it. I've been working on other people's crap nonstop, and I know I have some stuff I need to address on mine. So that's sort of where we're at. Jeremy, I know you were talking before we even started this about your transmission job that you did in like 4 hours.
Yeah,
Well, maybe not nearly that quick, but
in a morning.
morning.
Yeah, the I came back from Michigan a couple weeks ago. I jumped in my Jeep to go to the river because it's been pretty hot around here lately,
Mm.
and I made it to the end of the street, barely. Promptly turned around because I didn't have second gear. So
Jesus.
fortunately, I did have another transmission because I had a feeling that the current one with 390,000 didn't have many miles left in it. So when
No offense, but what was it? Over a year ago now that I went out to see you and that thing was shifting like shit.
Yep, that was over a year ago.
So
And I ran it out of fluid another time since then, which probably didn't help.
No,
AW Force, they run on piss and hatred, and when you leave them alone for too long, they commit seppuku.
Yep, I left for a week and it got mad at me, and then it was done. So,
Wow. So
but
was that really it? You'd like consistently drive it? Do you think it was because you let it sit?
I mean, I park it for the winter, so
Okay.
it does sit for a few months out of the year. So I think it was just bad luck. I came home, I went to drive it, it didn't drive, and the following day my Volkswagen broke a coil spring. So I think I was just having some bad luck.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just the dominoes all fell at the same time.
Yep. So, but we magically got an extra holiday this year. So I bought a transmission jack on my way home from work and started a transmission swap at 8 a.m. And I drove the Jeep to the club's annual Jeep meet at Cabela's. I was in the parking lot before 5 o'clock. So, and I've been driving the wheels off the Jeep since. I've put probably 600 miles on it in the last week and a half.
Holy shit.
So I drove it up to the Cape this past weekend, which was it was like 3 hours up there. It was probably 5 hours back with traffic, and I've been driving around pretty much everywhere I can. So
Can't
it's just
say
good to have
blame
it
me.
back. So it's good Jeep weather this time of year.
Except for the rain right now.
Yeah, except for the rain. I'm probably gonna have to go put doors on or make room in the garage.
That's literally why I was missing when you got on. Because my wife came up, it's like, hey, it's kind of pouring outside and you don't have doors on, you dumbass.
Oh, it's
She
sunny
was
here.
mocking you.
Yeah, no, it was a downpour here, Jeremy.
It looks sunny
Oh.
behind Richie too. So I
It
don't know
it
what
is.
he's talking about.
The sun never went away.
It was
It's
just
You know,
just poured.
if the sun disappeared, I would have gone and looked. But no, the sun was out. I'm like, it's not raining out.
I mean, it's hot enough that even if it did get soaked, it would probably just dry out and
Yeah,
be ready
I
for
might
the
just
next
leave
morning.
yeah.
the doors off anyway.
But when Jess
Don't
told me
do
that, I
it.
looked at the weather real quick, and my phone's saying rain for the next like week.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about that, especially because I got a lot of shit to do, and my Jeep's outside. So
You're gonna have to work in the rain.
yeah, I'm
Which
gonna
is
have to
how
get
it's
like a
gonna be.
pop up or something, and just fucking make it happen. I'm looking, and it's just like, oh, Wednesday through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, sunny, and then just rain for the next week after that. So
Yep.
should be a little exciting.
All right, and before we transition too far away from the doors off the Jeeps, Jeremy, how the hell do you take the pins out? I could look it up. I've looked it up multiple times, and I definitely know how to do it. I just don't. I want to confirm that you have to pop the pins out on the 2000 Plus, right? Or the 97 up?
Yes.
Which one is the one with the different hinge
It's
style?
97 and newer.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I
So
think people
are
have
yours
different
not
ways of going about
are
it,
yours not
but
removable at all right now?
no.
So
They stay on.
okay.
I'd like to make them
Mine stay
removable. I have
Yeah,
pins.
so I use hitch pins from Tractor Supply. I believe they're 1/4 inch hitch pins to replace the factory pins. But I literally take a Dremel, I cut the pin in half, and I just shove a chisel in there, and I push one side out the top, one side out the bottom to get the doors off the first time. And then I have to like line the door up and slide a pin in top and bottom every time I take them on and off. So
Okay.
it's
So
not
that
a
kinda
fun
sucks, but
process. It probably takes me like 3 or 4 minutes to do the both of them.
okay.
So
It's more of a 2-person job than it would be if I could just like slide them on.
I think Richie has a cool way that he did his. I don't think he has to actually slide a pin in, right?
No, that's actually what I was gonna say. Is I slide mine on and off like a Wrangler.
Do you
Okay,
have
so
the-
did you?
What year is your
I-
Jeep? I forget.
99, 98.
So did you cut part of the hinge off the door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I cut the bottom part of the hinge,
Yep.
so
So you
that
can
way
just slide
it
them down.
opens it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richie, you
Yeah.
were the one who told me how to do this.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
retain
told
any
you
of
how
it.
to do that multiple times.
So how do the doors close now? Like, do they still close like factory, or have they sagged due to
So-
the lack of support?
So originally, they closed just fine. But the issue with where if you don't do something to replace your factory pins,
Mm-hmm.
is they'll start to slide up out of their where they sit
Okay.
every time you go to slide your doors back on.
So can
And-
that be fixed by just welding in like or drilling it out and then putting like a 1/4 inch bolt with a really long shank on it, cutting the threads off and just welding that in so it'd be like a replacement for the pin?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Is that is on my list to do sometime in the next like month or two. Is exactly what you just said, Luke. Just because the reason why they start sagging is, or at least in my case, is the pin doesn't go through all the holes anymore.
Mhm.
It only goes through the top set, so it has a lot more wiggle room.
Yeah.
That'd do it.
No, because the one nice thing about my setup is, although it's a pain, like the doors haven't
doors-
sagged at all. They're still watertight.
Yep.
Even, the Jeep's been on its side and it's still watertight.
Yeah.
So,
God damn it, Emily.
yep. She'll never live it down.
Nope.
Rolled it on flat pavement.
Yep.
See, I don't have
that's
to
right.
worry about my doors being watertight because they're not, because they're bananaed, so they are open at the top and it just leaks in anyways. But
I mean,
I'm
you
thinking-
could definitely shim that out.
yeah, I definitely could. I could try. But I just think I've had issues with and I know I think it's a fairly common issue is if you actually off-road the thing enough, it'll you break the latch mechanism off of the door,
Yep.
which is, it makes sense, but it's kind of frustrating. I had my original doors did that, and I got another set. I had them sitting behind my garage, and I went and grabbed them. I was like, oh, this door's fucked. I'll just go get my other door. Well, the other door had the same shit, like same problem. So I was like, okay, I got to fix one of them, and I'm gonna use the clean door, not the fucked up door. But that makes me concerned for cutting the hinges down. You know what I mean, right? Because it's already seems like there's a lot of force on that door in weird spots, anyways.
See,
When you do have the doors on,
I believe that
maybe it's
if
unjustified.
you were
but-
to replace them with a beefier pin that's also longer than what your factory pin is, and then tack weld it in place, you wouldn't have that sagging issue. Just because I've tried tacking the factory pins in place, and it always blows the tack right off.
Yeah, see, so because it's under a lot of pressure, it's just pushing the pin out. I bet you if you
No,
set that pin
it
in
blows
so
it
doesn't
off when I
move-
try putting the door on.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like
Okay.
even
I don't know.
right after tacking it in place, it'll pop it right off.
maybe you just have
I
to
don't think
get
the
better
pins
penetration.
are. There's plenty of penetration. I just don't think the pins are a nice material to work with.
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but
It wouldn't
don't
surprise
know.
me if they're just trash steel. I mean, it is a Jeep. Look at the metal they use for the unibodies. Everyone here can attest that welding stiffeners on fucking blows cock.
I don't
It's
know.
Pretty
I-
bad.
I had a horrible time, but dude, I'm telling you that dude Marvell motherfucker be killing it. With
He
I
did
swear
your
to
front
God.
stiffeners, right?
Yeah, 5
Yeah,
minutes.
those look
each
nice.
Side, each side 5 minutes. No bullshit.
Yeah,
Swear to
yeah,
God,
yeah.
that dude is fucking stupid with it. Like,
But that
I-
kid also welds for a living.
you're right, but like, it's nuts,
nice.
dude.
They look nice.
I think I walked away, started cooking a cheeseburger, and he was like, "All right, the right side's done." Like, the right side's fucking done. He's like, "Yeah, you gonna prep the left side, or what are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "I'm about to eat." Like, but yeah, no, to like an inexperienced person, yeah, stiffeners are. Whew,
No,
it is something.
front stiffeners, not to discredit his welding ability. I've seen what he can do, and it's pretty. He's a pretty good welder. But the front stiffeners aren't nearly as bad as the mids and the back. The back, I feel like, is
Oh,
usually
yeah.
rotted, and there's other shit to worry about, or it's tweaked, or there's something going on. And the mids section is just covered in crap always. So
And it's
the
just
front's always like
air-
a little bit saved
Yeah.
from some of that.
So like again, yes, I am giving him a lot of credit, but yeah, fronts are easier, but still, I like looking at my mids to my like fronts now. I'm just like, God, why did I even try? Like, it's so funny.
gotta
because
start somewhere.
as shitty as they are, stiffeners are a great introduction to welding.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
especially because nobody really looks at them for the most part.
Yeah,
If they don't look great, and you have way more weld
Exactly.
area than you really need.
Yeah,
And it's not like you're welding it to a 1/4 inch plate. You're welding it to sheet metal that you could look at wrong and it would burn through,
Mhm.
right? So it's not.
So you really have to improve your skills as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's plenty to weld. There's a lot.
Yep.
So you get lots of practice, and you get to practice in really weird positions.
Mm.
Yep.
fuck. That is no joke. Where you're crawling from the other side under, so that way you can get a piece. Oh yeah, those fun times. Fun
That's why a lot of people flip them over when they do like the. I've seen
Like a rotisserie.
Yeah, they put it on a rotisserie so they can do the thing.
Oh,
up.
I'm so jealous of that. I've done 4 sets of stiffeners now. And if I
Oh,
never had to do
God.
another set, I'd be okay. But I'm sure I will.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't want any of that. That's a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Just embrace the suck.
I just still
Yep.
can't get over how weird the angle of my track bar is. Like, I know that I've spoken with a few people on here about it, but like, it's angled so fucking weird. It's angled like forward. It's almost angled like the frame side is angled towards the headlight. Like, yeah, I get it. It's gonna have
I'm
the angle.
wondering if there's a little bit of like because of how your stiffener went on. I'm wondering if there, and I'm not saying it went on bad, but I'm wondering if it just kicked the angle a little bit.
No, because the bracket is straight. The bracket is on. But like if you look at how like the bracket sits, it's supposed to sit flat and then the track bar like mount faces towards the axle. It's like
Mhm.
angled like 13 degrees forwards. It's so weird.
The
You're talking about
bracket is?
The
No,
frame
the-
side?
So yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can post. I think I have a picture somewhere. But yeah, so you know how like there's your stock bracket that like the actual like mounting part that bolts into the 4 bolts that goes onto the unibody, and then there's the piece that goes underneath that you would mount the actual track bar to. That mount part is angled forwards towards the headlight, but like a noticeable amount. Which is weird to me because I looked it up too. It's not for a stretch. It's meant for a stock application. Well, not a stock, but like an over the axle stock location setup. Just so weird. I mean, granted, yeah, of course it has to be angled a little bit forward, but just seems off.
Well, I mean, if you're using Heims, it doesn't really matter as long as it's not like 30 degrees out of whack. I think like 10 is probably fine because you're
Okay.
really right. It just has to go. It's not
Check the
pivoting
general.
forward and back. that much.
Correct.
I don't-
Well,
I
it
don't know.
will.
It does seem odd though for like a bolt-on
Check the
piece
journal.
to
You
be.
can kind of see the rough,
Yeah,
like you
let's
can see where my granted, yes, my axle is drooped out well more than what it should, but you can kind of see that that's the bracket, and then it's like angled towards the front, like very.
It also might
That's
be
not
angled
too
like
bad.
that to kind of make mating that brace a little bit easier.
Potentially.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the most
because the
valid
brace-
reason
Oh no, you're right. I guess the brace
because it's
does
got to go
up.
straight across to those bolt holes over there, right?
Yeah, which funny enough, they're stiffener, like they're not stiffeners, they're sway bars, but they're back. It's like another set behind.
It's a track bar for a right-hand drive.
Oh, fucking cool.
Well, yeah,
That's cool.
they gotta build it somehow. They gotta
That's
flip the steering so the track bar's flipped.
Huh? Who would have
And
thought?
it's a lot to use. It's a lot easier to use the same cookie cutter line than to have two separate lines.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, so the track bar is bolted on, and the track bar mount is bolted on and welded on. So even if that track bar is wrong, it ain't coming off. We're just getting new control arms. we're
And then,
we're stretching that cocksucker and getting some coilovers or something. I don't know.
yeah, you can put a bend in it when you go to your 1 tons, you can put a bend in that bar and probably use that mount again.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I'm pretty excited about it.
is it offset
Also,
out or is it?
it's offset like forward.
Yeah, I know it's not
sits in the
offset forward,
factory
but does it sit in
position.
like the? Okay. See, if you want it to drive nice on the road with 1 tons, you gotta have it sit outside the frame.
Yeah.
You should.
So the one I
Outside
just
the
did.
frame?
Yeah,
So-
like
But
That's why I
why?
have all my problems. It's because mine is so offset outside the frame rail. It's got so much leverage to pull in that frame rail. But if I have it any closer in, then it's not going to match the length of the drag link, and I'm not going to have ideal. I'm going to have bump steer.
Oh,
I do have a little bit, but it is not. I can't have a perfect setup unless I did a coilover. I can't have my track bar where it should be exactly because the coil is right in the way.
yep, same
I
here.
mean, you could potentially. Well, it would depend.
Yeah.
You've seen my setup, right?
Yes. I could bend over backwards, and literally like welded around the coil, but
Yeah, go around the coil spring.
it's a Dana
But yeah.
50. I don't care that much about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't have it rides pretty damn good for what it is. So
I've got a shorter track bar than yours, and mine's perfectly okay.
yeah,
You've driven my Jeep.
I think it's more about the
It's
you know, how
matching
parallel they
angles.
are, not so
Yeah.
much the length. The length definitely is important as
Helps.
well to get it perfect for the arc, but you can compensate.
If it's parallel, it should, by my understanding, even if the length isn't perfect, it should drive pretty well on the street.
Yep.
Because you're mostly going to stay in that range at ride height. Whereas, like, if you're bombing through the desert and the length is wrong, you're going to notice it a lot more because you're using a lot more of your suspension travel where the length mismatch
Would actually matter.
is going to
yeah.
be noticeable.
It's
Whereas on
it's
the street,
exponential,
because you're
right? Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So on the street, you're staying pretty close to ride height all the time. So as long as they're parallel, it won't be that
I don't
bad.
know what roads you got in Connecticut, but it ain't like that here in Mass. We got potholes everywhere. There ain't no. I feel like I'm rallying the thing half the time.
You ain't driving through 1.5 foot tall whoops at 90 though.
I don't know. You ever been down Sumner Ave in Springfield?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's-
No, I stay
You
out of
come up
Springfield.
my you come up my road anytime recently over the bridge.
oh, the bridge has some pretty bad fucking potholes right now.
Some fucking asshole in a big ass truck blew out a couple of the fucking patches and made the holes even worse.
Oh shit. But yeah, I guess that makes sense though. Yeah, on a normal road, you're not seeing that as much. I do understand.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you'd be okay. But still,
All right. Or we just four link it.
you could.
Fuck
but
Yes, Chad. Yes. Go with the hydro. Let's just fucking cut the middleman out. We're gonna go ape shit crazy with it. Like,
Yep. fuck a track bar. We don't need those. We're gonna add an extra arm, and then
No,
move
you,
another arm.
you do have the 1 tons sitting there now, so there you go.
And you do have Miguel's buggy and some experienced fabricators, and you need to build sliders. So
No sliders.
know.
Sliders are dumb.
then how are you going to go
Oh, that's
for
on my
them?
rocker panels.
Oh, you're right. I guess it does have to mount outside the frames of the unibody. I could just mount them on the outside and face it inwards without the sliders. But then again, regardless, yes, I do need sliders. I was just joking because that would be dumb.
Well,
But yeah, that's about it for me. Me and Marvell have just been kicking ass on our Jeeps, building him a bumper currently. He
His
just
shit
needs a-
looks like it's coming along good.
Oh yeah, he just needs control arms to be put in. He just needs to put the steering box in and then bolt everything else back up. So his is not bad at all. Mine's taking a little bit because I don't know where the fuck my shocks are, where they are in the world. But regardless, it'll be pretty sick. I think we'll actually be able to split groups at Badlands this year because we'll have Johnny B, we'll have Brianna, Richie, me, Andy, and there was one more. Marvell, yeah. So that's 6 of us. And so we'll be able to go run the blues and blacks while you guys go chase around on the reds and
What
break
about
it.
Buckley?
Fuck Buck. No, I'm just kidding. Buckley's not. He said that he might come up for the day, but I don't know if he's actually going to come up and wheel.
Tell
Because
him to grow a pair.
that's not a property for him to go to. I'm going to be honest with you.
why not?
What about you,
It's
Jeremy?
fine.
About what?
The
You
16
coming to Badlands?
So the first property I ever wheeled with my Jeep Club was the Badlands, and I went up there. So we helped like develop that property, right? Cut a lot of the trails at the very beginning. We met Chip at a gas station, the owner, and like did a lot of the stuff at the beginning. So
Wait, like that's how that place got started?
yep, we met Chip at a gas station.
That's hilarious.
And he's like, "Hey, I've got 300 acres. I'd like to do something with. Do you guys like want to do something with this?" And that's pretty much how it got started. Which is why
I didn't know that.
which is why I'm so amazed to see what it is now because I haven't been
Yeah.
up there in a couple years now, and like the place doesn't look anything like it did how I remember it.
Well, those guys who
So
who did all the coordination for Wheeling for Warriors did an insane job because I saw the aerial pictures like as the event was starting, I think, and the place looks insane. Way
Yeah.
It
different
looks awesome.
even from last year. Like it's awesome because that property is definitely underutilized and hasn't been
And just so much potential, so much cool
Yeah.
terrain.
Exactly.
So
So-
it sounds like Jeremy, now would be a great time for you to come up and see all the new changes.
I mean, maybe, yeah. So the last time I was there, I was in my red Cherokee on 33s with 1.5 inches of lift. And I definitely went home with a fair amount of damage. So lacking, rocker panels, exhaust, oil pan.
That sounds like me every time I go to the Badlands. I literally do the most well, okay, so I say this at Richie's house too. But all of my body damage is mostly from Richie's house or Badlands. Like I don't ever really break that's not true. I break a lot of shit at Richie's house. But like actually going in, then I blew out my fucking passenger door, fucked up the alignment of the windows. Every time it goes up now I have to push on it. Like
That's just standard Jeep stuff, though.
it's ridiculous. But yeah, this year should be pretty cool. And if you want to come, we'll definitely have a nice, how do I say, average sized group to go out so the big idiots can go and do whatever they want. So
Yeah, it sounds like you do have a good group going. Nice size.
Who's gonna be a big idiot there? It's gonna be me.
you,
It'll be
Colin, you
Miguel's
have
buggy.
the other buggy guys. You have Rob if he has a buggy, which I don't think he does.
Doesn't. It's literally like if he even has it still, it's just a floor with a dashboard. Like,
You have Allie, isn't it Allie and the other guy, the two JK people? Allie, isn't it Allie?
No, Dave and Alyssa.
Alyssa. Hey, I was pretty fucking
Close.
close for only meeting her once. All right? But yeah, they wheel bigger shit. They do reds and whatnot. So we'll have a pretty good separation of groups this year. So that way we're not just training behind one another for fucking hours on end.
I just want to do a different beginning loop than
yes,
the down Armageddon loop that we
I-
always do. That's
I
like my
literally-
only
I
request. I don't care
fucking
if I've
hate
got to
that
ride with
trail.
you guys.
I hate that trail. I'm not even bullshitting you. I was talking to Marvell. I'm like, it's literally stupid for no reason. It takes no skill to go down. It does absolutely nothing.
Oh no, it
beneficial
definitely
for anyone.
does. If you don't go
does
down
not.
that correctly, like what if you fuck up?
Yeah,
and
if you don't go down
go
that
flying down,
correctly,
right? Like
you
you
end
could
up
die.
having to like teeter-totter off of rocks and like crawl
No.
out in the opposite direction from where you're supposed to because
Are you calling me out right now?
I absolutely am.
But
And
no,
you
but like,
walked right into it.
but like, you know what I mean? Though, all you're doing is pressing your brakes as hard as you fucking can, hoping that you're not gonna die. Like going up it.
Well, not if you're having a
hit the
manual.
brakes. I just put it in first and let it kind
Let
of
it
idle
crawl.
down.
You
and
keep your foot on the
See-
brake and kind of guide it down, and you're good.
See, to me, the cool trail would be going up, coming down, like so going backwards on that green, go up Soggy Bottom, and then come down the other blue black that we couldn't make it up last year. Fuck the
I like
stupid
Soggy
Armageddon. Soggy Bottom is sick. That's an absolutely amazing trail and wicked fun.
And
But-
I hate mud, and that was a fun one because you come
Yeah.
out of there and you can bomb right into Copperhead.
Yeah.
You guys
So
are making me all sentimental and sad and shit.
Mm.
Wait,
Yeah,
you
well,
were
you're the
supposed to
damn
leave yet.
traitor.
You were supposed to be
Yeah.
around for Badlands
yeah.
Mini.
with a completed Jeep, might I add.
Yeah.
Which was not going to happen, by the way, after looking at the thing. At least it wouldn't have had a floor. It might have had some two
Fuck the
fenders, but
floor. Nobody needs floors.
it
Fuck
would have been
that.
like a skin, a Cherokee skin. It's like a Matchbox car with no bottom in there. It's just
It would have been like a skin suit
Yeah,
So-
or a
exactly.
skinwalker.
So, Cody, normally I would agree with you and make fun of Luke at the same time. But yeah, Luke actually needs a floor in this case because he has nothing.
I know. It's
Yeah,
bad.
but neither do buggies. Buggies don't have anything.
I was gonna say, do you remember like Josh Greenleaf's Jeep? Because
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like now, but I know for a long time that there was nothing behind the driver's seats.
No, there is nothing.
I've actually
Like you would
never
look behind the driver's seats and see the floor link.
Yeah,
I've never
That's how
actually
mine
looked
is right
inside
now.
his Jeep.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the tube work he's got on it now. It's
I haven't checked it out since the
Amazing looking.
5.3 swap.
okay. Wait, he had the 4.0 in it for a while though, so I guess maybe I haven't looked at it as closely as I thought. Maybe
He did
4.0
have the
still-
4.0 for quite a while.
yeah. He
So-
just put the 5.3 in recently, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
maybe I just haven't looked close enough. But the outside and like the beginning of the back section, he's got some stuff in there that looks pretty sweet. I like the tube work. It's unique.
Yeah, he does a fair amount of it. So
But yeah, like I said, I'm jealous of you guys. The move here kind of came a little quicker than I was expecting it to.
But you
Really?
have an AKA. So like
Well,
the
Well, yeah, I got an AK, and like we've got. I shit you not, my Jeep is going to be very boring on the roads down here because everyone drives a lifted Cummins Duramax Power Stroke on like 40s with 10 inches of lift down here. So that
Okay,
thing's
well,
just
when are you
gonna,
lifting
like,
your grandpa truck and putting
I'm
42s
not.
on?
no, that's the best part. All the idiots get pulled over with their lift, and Luke just coasts in under the radar with his AKs and his weed and crazy shit. Just kidding. Just kidding.
no,
I'm
we
kidding.
down here. That's gonna be more trouble than anything else.
So
You
no
can get
weeds.
a- Yeah, no, I had to pretend to be a responsible adult. Which kind of
Yeah. but that'll be pretty dope though. I mean, regardless, your Jeep is not going to be ordinary down there. I don't care what you think. But
I
it'll
mean,
be dope
ordinary
down
in the sense of law enforcement. It's going to be very, very boring.
there. Oh, that's fair then. That's pretty sick.
It's
Oh, I can
narrower
make it
than.
not boring. We could do some really stupid stuff to it.
Turbos,
I'll tell you.
turbos, turbos.
And then you can
turbos.
show up and come and grab it, and you're like, what the hell is this?
Fucking dildos everywhere.
Dildo the shifter.
Or just have the exhaust dump right under the floor in the driver's area, so that way it's just really, really, really loud. That'd be sweet.
Oh, you mean like it is right now?
Yeah, no, but like use a hole saw and cut a hole through the floor and then just put it up in there.
No. Let me tell you. So on Saturday, me and Preston got Luke's Jeep actually running, and either I didn't know that the exhaust got disconnected or I completely forgot. But once it fired, I jumped out of my pants.
No, 4.0s aren't that loud when they're straight piped, though. It's not. How far does it cut up?
It's cut right after the bend where it starts to go back before the
crossover?
cross member. Yeah, it's cut at the bottom of that.
They are that loud too, Graham, when you're expecting a full exhaust.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it's an enclosed building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm just glad it started. Did the gauge read and all that for the fuel?
I'll let you know on tomorrow. I forgot to check.
I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't if the pump's on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
if
it
the pump
it
works,
took an
then it
hour to
should
get
have
the
fuel.
pump on.
Yeah, I got no clue on that.
Well, so me and Preston, we got the new fitting on, and we go to prime the pump, and it wasn't kicking on. So we're like, well, what the fuck? I'm going through trying to figure out where all the fuses for the airbag module is.
Which don't
They're
have
already
anything to do
out.
with anything, by the way. Those have nothing to do with the fuel pump. I literally don't have the airbag control module, and my fuel pump still works. Like the fuses are not in there, or are in there.
Look, all I remembered was Luke saying something about the airbag module, and so that got stuck in my head. So I was trying to figure it out, and I couldn't find anything, and that's when I contacted you, Graham. And
Yeah, and I just looked up the schematic, and I was like, they're right here, and if they're out, then that's not the problem.
they were out, but it took forever to find them. And then when me and Preston decided to go through the whole wiring harness for like the 7th time, and we ended up finding an extra ground wire that was just like hanging in the air. We put that on some bare metal, and it fired right up.
It's that easy. Was that one of the
Yeah,
ones from the seats, or was it something that sat in the back? I don't know
it
of a ground
was-
wire.
It was kind of in line with the C-pillar.
Oh, it's the ground that goes for your taillights and all of that stuff. And I got disconnected because all that wiring got pulled forward
Yep.
when I started cutting stuff out because I didn't want to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what my theory is when you got the fuel pump on yourself, Luke, that ground might have actually been contacting some metal,
Probably just touching something.
and then with me and Preston pulling the wiring harness to make sure everything was plugged in, pulled it away from the metal,
Yep.
so fuel pump wasn't turning on. But let me tell you, I ain't never felt stupider for 2 hours worth of nothing.
Yeah, if it
That's
makes
what
you
wiring
feel better,
does to
I
you.
spent an hour and a half trying to get it to run the first time when I found out about the bad fitting. So,
It makes me
know.
feel a little better.
I
but I'm
literally
glad
dealt
to
with
hear that.
my gauge cluster grounding issues for 6 months, and then I sat down with Jacob and we looked at it for probably 3-4 hours, and eventually discovered that it was just the fucking bolts for the dashboard on the sides that were not there. There was nothing there. It was like a rusty self-tapper. That was all that my entire dashboard was grounding through. And after we fixed that, it was good to go. But yeah, wiring can be a nightmare.
Well, I admit, I get childishly frustrated when it comes to wiring stuff.
Well, it's like, you can't really see it. You just can follow
Oh.
the wires, but you can't always see, the correlation with issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking hate wires.
I have a friend that is a 25-year Chrysler tech with all the like proper equipment. And when I have wiring issues, I just pay him to figure it out. Because it's just not worth my headache. When he could look at it for half an hour and know exactly what's going on and solve the problem.
Yep.
Versus me staring at it and pulling my hair out for like 4 days. It's like, nope, dude, I will give you $100 to just like look at this for half an hour.
Yeah.
So I had codes for a throttle position sensor, and no matter what I did, I couldn't make the issues go away. I had a dead spot in the pedal. I had the codes. I had, I replaced the sensor. I checked through all the wiring. I couldn't find anything. Well, it turns out my the sensor behind the steering wheel, clock spring. The clock spring was bad. We unplugged it, and the thing it runs perfect. Yep. Well, because
no. I had that issue as well. So this was my the steering shaft from the wheel to the box sheared because it's aluminum splines, and the Hydro Assist was not happy. I was flexed out on a Jeep or something. We were at a car show, and when I got off, I didn't turn the thing on or something, and it sheared the splines. So I drove it down the road, was at a stoplight, like something was doing weird things, so I turned the wheel, and it just free spooled. Like, just wheel did 360s, and I broke the clock spring, because it's not supposed to do that.
It's not supposed to do that.
3 turns. So, and then after that, it was running like shit. It was misfiring, it was doing all sorts of weird stuff. But I guess that's because the horn relay is actually like part of the whole sensor ground system. So if that doesn't work right, it's a mess.
Yep. So I unplugged that clock spring 2 years ago, and I've never plugged it back in, and everything's happy. I don't have a horn, but I didn't have a horn anyway, so it doesn't affect me.
I'm probably going to have to do something similar, Jeremy, because if I'm being honest, living down here, I'm seeing hydro in the future. Especially because, like, we got red clay out the ass.
Are you going to sell me your 40s and get some those aggressive Mickey things that everybody buys?
Sticky Mickeys?
No, not even. I guess
I don't
probably sticky, but
honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm going to go with stickies. They might just end up being regulars.
I don't know. Let me know. Buy some tires, send them to me. I'll put them on. I'll take your noodles off your hands. It'll be a great time. I gotta mock mine up for 40s anyways.
God damn it, Graham! You're already getting my stickies.
I know. I'm just gonna take all your tires. They're gonna be there anyways.
We might figure something out later.
Yeah.
You don't want his shit nettos anyways.
No, they're shitty, but I'll take them for the right price.
Oh god.
I don't
There you
know.
go.
Down here, that's like $1,600 worth of tires. So they might come down here and then disappear down here because up there they'd probably be like $1,200 worth of tire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but
Money
like, it's all red clay and big rocks down here. Up in New England, it's a lot of mud. Down here, it's a lot of clay. So I could see myself ending up with a set of like those the Mickey. What are they called? The SX, not SXs. You know what I'm talking about, though. They look like fucking assault weapons. A bogger had sex with a TSL, and
Yeah, they're insane looking.
Yeah, they look.
Doesn't Timmy have those in a sticky?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think they make them in a non-sticky, do they?
Oh yeah, they do.
I think they do,
There's
but everybody.
there's no way that rides well or like does anything well in the street. So why
I-
bother?
If you're getting those tires, Graham, I don't think you're getting it for the street performance.
Exactly. So why do they make a DOT version?
Why
So
is
the
an
guys that
IROC
run
a
'em on the
bi-radial? Why is an IROC a bi-radial?
I don't know.
What?
Bias ply. Pardon me. I'm retarded.
An IROC is a bias ply because that's how they originally made them, and then they also make the radials as well.
But exactly what I'm talking about. It's the same situation. It's an aggressive tire that like literally sucks running on the road.
I know a lot of people that run bias IROCs on tons with 40s that are okay.
My IROC
It-
never disappoints. I say it every time.
Yours were also from like what 2004?
Mine?
That thing? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say I think mine was 97.
Oh
Okay,
my
you're complaining
God.
about 97 tires in 2021.
Fucking fossilized at that point.
The
Just riding a
previous,
fucking...
the guy who gave me the tires said that he knows of 11 people who own that exact set of tires.
Yeah, IROCs are kind of like that.
Oh yeah, a little fucked up for sure.
I will say that IROCs are wickedly popular down here. Even the JK people are running around on IROC radials.
Huh.
But why?
because we got clay.
I was gonna say they must work good in the clay.
Yeah, they clean out pretty well.
There's not a lot of tread really, so it doesn't get stuck in there.
So, question: now that you're down in Tennessee, when you're listening to country music, do you feel it just starts describing you a bit better now? Like you're really starting to get into the vibe.
It depends on the country because, like, the cool part about Tennessee is they play the country I actually like Tyler Childers and Cody Jinks and whatnot on certain radio stations. So that's cool.
That's cool.
I can get down with that, but they also have a lot of the hit country too, which is wickedly popular down here with the people that are driving with the flat bills, flip back, stupid sunglasses, and Fred Cummins.
Ooh, if you had said white Chevy, I thought you were going to be talking about me.
I feel like he's
They could
talking
go
about someone
any
else
direction.
right now.
I'm not gonna say nothing, but you know. Like, you know, at a minimum, 6 inches of lift and 35s on your 2500 is like the bare minimum down here. So,
Oh God, I would hate that. I would hate to put a lift into my actual pickup truck. That just sounds horrible.
yeah, there's a reason I'm not. My truck is perfectly fine as it is. It's a tow rig. If I lift it, I lose the fact that it happily tows my Jeep really well. But you want to talk about a vehicle that is not a tow rig, E450 U-Haul. Fuck that thing. That
Yeah.
was 15,000 miles on it. Already got blown manifold gaskets. So I made the entire trip down here wearing a set of, what are they?
Wait, they gave
are,
you took the truck that had blown manifold gaskets, or did they just
Didn't have a
blow on the way
choice.
down?
Didn't have a choice. It was the only 15-foot box they had. So I wore 3M work tunes, which are like Bluetooth earmuffs, the entire trip down there.
Was
and
it that
like,
obnoxious?
I'll buy those
oh, it
off
was
you.
that obnoxious.
I'll
You
buy
ain't
those
getting
off
those off
I'm
of me.
not.
You can go
You
buy
don't
them
need 'em.
yourself.
No, you don't need them now, though. $10 right now.
Yeah, you can go get your own off of Amazon for 33. And yes, I do need them. I work in a machine shop. That's where I had them before.
Oh, I thought you bought them specifically for this.
No, I
Well, that
had
would have
them.
been a little aggressive. I would have made fun of her for that.
No, I had them beforehand, but it's awful because the engine's partially in the passenger cabin. It's got like one of those strapped down center consoles.
Yep.
So it just going down the road, it sounded like shit the entire trip for like 14 hours.
Yep.
And then never trust a Google hotel rating either. It might say 3.5 stars, but it's a Tweaker Central. That
I'm
will
used
happen.
to that, though.
Well, 3.5 stars in Tennessee has got to be like pretty low, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they probably have different standards.
The standards there are not the same as here.
Well, I wasn't really thinking about that.
so funny.
But
I've stayed in some pretty sketchy fucking hotels though. Like going snowmobiling, being like upstate Maine, upstate New Hampshire. Like I'm talking $40 a night hotels, people screaming, gunshots down the road. Oh, it's fucking awesome. But guess what? You know, if you spend $40 on the hotel, that means you can spend the 60 on steak dinners for the family. So we decide, fuck it, we'll barely sleep and we'll just leave at 3 a.m. the next day. Then
Yeah, but I can
You know?
barely sleep for $0 and just skip the hotel.
yeah, not when it's middle of winter and it's like negative 25 degrees out.
Leave the car running.
Then you're just spending more on gas.
What? Spend $40 on fuel instead?
Yeah, exactly. At least I can kind of watch TV. I don't know.
No,
so
the
like,
strategy is to heat up the car, turn the car off, you bundle yourself up, go to sleep till you get cold, or freeze to death. Either one. Turn it back on. Honestly, I
I
haven't done a lot
remember
of
that
cold,
that Harris
cold weather
Mountain trip.
camping, but
It was kind of cold, so like I remember waking up at like probably like 3 in the morning. I turned the truck on. The next time I woke up, it was like 7 in the morning. My truck's still sitting there running, and I'm like, dying because the heat's just been continuously on, and it was like probably like 35, 40 degrees out. So the inside of the cabin's like 90 degrees at this point.
Wasn't that at Harris?
Yeah,
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
sweating my balls off. Shut the
Oh, I
truck
remember
off. Let
that.
it get
Yeah.
out.
I was sleeping in
And
the back of my fucking Jeep. You're sitting in there in your nice warm, overly hot pickup truck.
Good times.
Or Graham, when me, you, Colin, and Dan slept up at Harrison, we had the clown running around in the woods.
Oh yeah, that was sketchy. I don't know what the fuck that
Clown.
was.
There was no clown.
It was probably just a squirrel, but it didn't fucking sound like a squirrel.
It sounded like someone was running
It
around.
sounded
our
like somebody
campsite.
walking. The gait was perfect. It was like a walking gait. It wasn't a squirrel like rustling gait. I don't know.
Oh, that's
That was some
scary.
sketchy
Okay.
shit.
I could,
No,
yeah.
because like we heard it. It was literally was like, imagine the when you're walking through leaves, right? The the
Rustling,
pace
yeah.
of rustling, right? So an animal usually you figure like it's a little sporadic. It's not like
Exactly.
consistent, and it was like 5 consistent steps that continued to get closer behind us, and then I think like the 5th step, somebody said, "What the fuck?" And it was just
Yeah. And I remember every once in a while, Colin would just randomly start up his Jeep, rev bomb, backfire. We were all a little freaked out that night.
It was a good time. So the spiders on the ground were fucking massive too. That wasn't.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember showing up and like just walking up, like, damn, there's a lot of spiders. And then I think I helped roll up your tent, Graham, or something of the sort. And dude, there was just spiders fucking everywhere,
Yeah.
everywhere. I'm not even kidding. It's fucked.
Yep.
So to divert back to the original diversion here, so we're like at this hotel and we get a knock on our door. Hey, have you seen like this like rail thin blonde girl wearing a mini skirt and a pink blouse? And I'm like, yeah, we saw the Mustang pull up. Well, she stole my purse. Oh?
See,
So-
that's your first mistake, Luke. You mind your fucking business. Be like, I didn't see no stupid crackhead whore. Leave me the fuck alone. And then they don't bother you.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So then the cops show up like a little bit later and they're like, do you see anything? And then I'm like, not really. No, I just saw the car pull in. Chick kind of might have looked like it. And he's like, you got that U-Haul and the white F-250? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, what are you doing down here? And I'm like, we stopped because we're moving. And he goes, you really don't want to stay. If you got a gun, you better be carrying that on you. And I'm like,
Oh, God.
Well, that's what
Holy-
the cop said to you.
that's what the cops said.
Oh my god!
What a nice
never-
neighborhood you stopped in.
Yeah. 3.5 stars, baby.
I'm like, okay.
It was probably 3.5 stars for the glory hole in the public bathroom. That's what the thing was. Jesus Christ.
So I'm talking with the cop, and he's like, yeah, no, like, I'm like, well, I've got my Connecticut concealed carry permit. And he goes, you're in luck, Tennessee. We honor that.
Oh,
Whatever
shit.
you got, go put it together. You don't have to have none of that shit not click together like any of them stupid New York laws, and put that on your hip. What? He's like, yeah, no, this hotel, the hotel across the street, and the one that's 2 streets over form the triangle of meth. And I'm like, Google.
The meth.
What the fuck?
Did it say?
Triangle.
Did it say in those Google reviews like easy to find a dealer or?
Yeah.
Nope. It said clean hotel. Never had a problem staying here.
They paid
Maybe if
Chinese
you're a meth
bots.
addict.
Yeah.
I'm blind and deaf.
Yeah. So like we're like, okay, well, this sucks. So we ended up waking up at like 4 a.m. that next morning, and we yeeted out of there. And so long story short, we drove the remaining 3.5 hours to get to our place, and we pulled into our place, and it's in a nice little like nook of Cleveland, which is right on the border with a town called Ocoee, which is where I want to move to when we buy a house. Beautiful area. 120% don't regret it. The only thing I regret is that fucking hotel.
Super 8. And wherever the fuck you were, stay away.
Kingsport, Super 8, don't go there unless you
Like meth?
Ooh.
want to fuck around and find out.
I mean, shit. You just gave a few people, if they like meth, a really good place to go. So I mean, honestly, you might have helped somebody today.
Yeah, I might have.
Cody's heading down tomorrow.
Shoot, I'm itching right now thinking about it. Isn't that a line? I don't smoke meth, I sell it. Isn't that like a fucking rapper's quote or something like that?
Yeah. But like the area that I'm in is fucking beautiful. Like you walk out my door and you got like farmer's house. You look over at like an old rustic barn and you can see the Smokies from my house. It's fucking gorgeous.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think I don't know. Carry on, Graham.
to circle back to the, Jeep shit and not the meth in Tennessee and shit. I guess I say Jeep stuff, but Ryan's gonna love it. I'm gonna talk about Bronco stuff for a second here. I was doing a Dana 20 rebuild for a 70s Bronco. That was sort of, took one day I took it apart and cleaned it up, and then I took another day to put it all back together. And let me tell you, I thought the 205 had a lot of like manual needle bearings that you had to put in there and grease up so they don't fall out and then slide it in. And idler shafts I get. You don't put a bearing in there, you just put the little needle bearings that you grease them up, throw them together, it all goes great. But this thing, I swear, I did 2 sets, and I think I took a couple of videos and threw them on Facebook and Instagram, but it was a lot. I had to stack like it must have been 30 bearings into the gear with a lot of grease, otherwise they would immediately fall out, and slide the gear in. There was like shims on the side that I had to deal with, and then I had to jam the pin in and hope they didn't fall out, and that worked pretty well. And then the second half I was trying to figure out, there were fat bearings, couldn't figure out where they went. Actually looked up the the instructions to the rebuild, and there they are. They're right on the in between the transmission and the the main shaft for the whole transfer case out to the back, to the rear output. And those ones, so that output actually stays on the transmission, and the case is kind of odd because you bolt the case in and it puts one of the drive gears for the transfer case. That's actually on the transmission, and you bolt it together to the Dana 20. And you had to grease 13 fat bearings that don't like staying where they want to be.
Wait, what?
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, like it was.
Did you pull the?
I didn't fuck up, but if I had, it would have been a bad time because then the case has got bearings.
It sounds like you pulled the input off.
No,
to pull the transfer case. That's weird. Because the one that I had,
you literally take and when you unbolt, there's a C-clip that comes off of the output shaft on the transmission, and I think it was a Novak adapter to begin with, so that might have been part of the weirdness of this whole build. But even then, the factory transfer case or factory transmission attached to the transfer case had this same setup with a C-clip with a chunk of output shaft, and it was like a splined section that just goes into the transfer case, but you have to have it on the transmission for it to actually,
that's
connect to
confusing.
anything. It was odd.
Weird.
Yeah, but putting that on, you're picking up a heavy transfer case with bearings that are loose, minus the
Right.
grease.
Isn't that an iron
sliding
case?
it on. Yeah, it's all cast iron, and I mean it's smaller than a 205, so it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a different challenge. I don't know if I'd want to do one again. I'm definitely glad you don't have a Dana 20, Luke, because that thing's output shafts are so weak looking.
Wait,
it's like
who's
thick blind.
Dana 20 wants it? The Broncos?
It's for that green
that
Bronco
Bronco.
we've had. We're trying to get that done by the 4th of July. We don't
So
know if that's
while
going
we're
to happen,
taking
but
a moment, no, sorry. Well, we're taking a moment to talk about shitty transfer cases. Jeremy, I swear to God, if you put that 300 in, I will make the drive back up there just to slap you. Fuck Dana 300. That was the
So-
most expensive fucking 30 seconds of fucking letdown in my life.
I've been slowly getting given more and more parts, like rebuild parts and aftermarket
Oh
parts
no, just
for the
sell it
Dana
all.
300. I have shifters for it. I have the adapters for it.
Shifters
I think I
can
have
work for other things. You
I
can
think
use
I
the
have an-
shifters on a 205 or an
I
Atlas.
think I have an output for it now. I haven't paid for any of this, by the way, including the transfer case.
I think there's a
So-
reason though, Jeremy. Think about it this way: why are people giving away free parts unless it's for a shit transfer case? Don't do it. Don't
You
do
can
it.
ask
You do
Graham.
make a good point.
What I
Yeah.
will say
But-
is the outputs on my 205, 32
Mhm.
spline, like it's hard to find a 1310 CV for the thing, which I talked about on a previous podcast, because it's such a fat output shaft. And then
Yeah.
you get the 300 and the Dana 20, which is like, oh, we got this like little beanpole of an output shaft on the front and back, and they match,
Mhm.
by the way. And
Yep.
it's just it's sad when you look at it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were that small until I looked at Miguel's after they had snapped in half, and then looking at the Dana 20 and knowing that it's about the same size, probably a little smaller actually.
Yeah, and like I know you don't drive in the manner that I do, but I literally got 30 seconds worth of wheeling time in, and I sent that case to God.
Yeah. I assume that was also in a manual transmission rig.
Nope.
Nope, auto.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because I think the reason that I have broken so few parts on my Jeep is largely attributed to the automatic.
Oh no,
Probably
this automatic
attributed
was
to
locked into
super-
first gear.
Super sloshed automatic that like did not bite.
Yep, no, this was a biting locked into first gear with the fuse for the TCM pulled, so you had to manually shift it using the shifter for
Mhm.
first, second, third.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 120% sent that to God. And then a weekend before that, the guy that had that transfer case sent the idler gear to God. So,
Yeah, the gears are tiny, the output shafts are tiny. I mean, if you're gonna harden the gears, that they'd probably be fine, but
Yeah.
still the output
Well,
shafts are the
who knows? Maybe it'll eventually be a package deal that I'll sell to fund something else, being that I have all these parts and I haven't paid anything for them.
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Now you're
if
thinking.
you can grab like a 241 or a Atlas, you are going to be in far better shape. And I mean,
Well, I mean,
it would just match
obviously.
your dog.
It would.
So, I mean,
I'd do a
that's the path
241.
right there.
Honestly, I'd
Yeah,
If
you
you
could
can find a
probably
241
even
for
get
a
a
good
straight
price.
trade.
Yeah, a good price. You ever see them below like $1,600?
Yeah,
apparently they go below that.
hit
I
up.
don't know.
Tell.
So I know a few people that have.
That's
had
still
them,
cheaper than
sold
the
them, and
205. Like, I and my shit's heavy as hell now. Like, it definitely it drives way different just from all the extra, driveline friction.
Yeah. That's definitely another thing. Like my Jeep is light,
Yeah,
and
you don't
that's
want to do
probably
that.
another big piece of why it
So what you're
doesn't break
saying
stuff
is
constantly.
Atlas.
So if I wasn't in the Jeep, it'd be below 4,000 pounds.
If you do a Dana 300 with like an aluminum case and like high dollar 300 with like
So I have a
billet
friend-
cryo output shafts or whatever makes them strong. I don't know.
I have a friend with a Stack case. I think Stack makes it, right? The
Yep.
aluminum 300 case
Mhm.
with 4-to-1 gears that he was thinking about getting rid of. And it's like, At that point,
yeah, maybe. Take it.
Maybe.
See what happens.
So part of the problem is we were talking about it with I think Miguel at some point in time. When you go to flip those cases, if you don't have the heavy duty top cover, we think that the case is flex. I heard that from some old timer that I bought some parts off of.
I already have a billet top cover. That's another thing that I already got for free.
But if you put the stack
There's a
case
problem
in
here,
there,
man.
if you put the stack case in there, I'm not going to dissuade you too much, but at the same time, I will be like,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. At the moment, I just I keep holding on to it. I keep not doing that particular project, mostly because the 231 hasn't blown up.
Yep.
And because
I
the
will
longer I
tell
hold
you.
on to it, the more people give me free stuff for it. So if I just hold on to it for a few more
You
years,
get a
like maybe I
case,
won't have to
yeah,
buy
for a
anything.
case. Yeah.
Right. So,
So-
Way
maybe
to go.
maybe somebody will give me a rebuilt one, and then I won't have to rebuild the one I have.
The only thing I gotta say is that the 231s are stupid fucking strong for what they are. Ducky would break them, but I also think that had to do with the fact that it wasn't geared in the axles that much,
Oh,
and
100%.
that I was incredibly abusive. If you told me to slap it, I would just like neutral drop it with a 318 with a cam.
and
And
So the only 231 I ever broke was in my YJ with the stroker motor with a stick shift, and I actually broke the yoke off the axle, and so the drive shaft went flying, and when the drive shaft swung around and hit the muffler, it grenaded the case in half,
that's kind
and
of
like
amazing.
half the case was hanging by the chain under the Jeep.
And it
I
probably
see
drove
that a
home.
lot. I see that a lot, actually. Not
It happens more
Often,
often
but-
than I would think.
yeah. That's how they
Um,
break. Is the case just explodes?
They just literally explode.
I will say this though. My 300 with an upgraded output shaft and the just replaced factory chain has been neutral dropped so many fucking times.
You mean your 231?
Yeah, the 231.
You did
The
an upgraded
neutral
chain?
drop. No, it's just a factory replacement.
Oh, okay.
I had it. I don't even know how it came into my possession, but I ended up with one, so I just put it in when I rebuilt
Yeah,
the
I
base.
remember that from a few years ago. And I mean, that's the
Um,
thing is there are some upgrade paths you have with the 231 because there are wider chain 231s. that
Right.
Got.
You can upgrade
That's what
them
I did
to,
on
with
mine.
the Dodge parts.
Yep.
Yes,
Dodge
yes.
parts
So-
or Chevy parts.
And they're cheap
Yeah.
as hell. Like you can get a 231 anywhere, and as long as you've got an SYE, which is like the biggest part of the whole deal, you can just slap that into any 231 you blow up. That's what I did. I've gone through like 3 231s, and then I got the wide chain, and I had the SYE. So it's just you add parts every once in a while, and they last a little longer. And as long as you don't run them out of fluid, they usually don't blow up, and you're good to go.
Right.
Really,
Yeah,
I'm
you
really
can put it.
excited for this one that you gave me. Then, if I just have to keep throwing
Oh,
parts at it.
it's a trooper. It won't blow up for a few years, I bet you. And if you fix the pump, it'll last even longer.
Yeah, so here's the deal. With a 231, if you act like you don't care about it, it's fine.
Yep.
If you forget it exists, it's fine. When you start to actually care about its well-being, you start having problems.
Yeah, so I've never checked the fluid in mine, and that's probably why it still works.
Well, no, they
Exactly.
you know when it's out of fluid. Let me
Oh
tell
yeah,
ya.
no.
You know.
I did have a snap ring break in one of them once, and the main shaft, like I could slide it in and out, like probably 3/4 of an inch. That made some interesting noises. It would try to engage 4-wheel drive on its own,
Oh God!
Wow.
dude.
like
Oh, so-
depending on which direction you were turning.
See, I had a similar thing happen with mine, but it wasn't. It was the neutral to engage shifter, and it was because it was so low on fluid that it actually burned the aluminum shift collar out. So it wouldn't stay in one gear. So if you were going up a hill, it would drop into neutral on the highway, and it didn't blow up. It would just pop out and then pop right back in. It was terrifying.
Oh god.
So, like, I was working, or I put mine together, and you'll recognize this name. I was over at Pavia's house slapping my
Oh,
231
Pavia.
SYE in. We forgot to put the spring in. So, the spring pushes against the shift fork to keep it in two-wheel drive. Now, I'm going down the road, and all of a sudden, like, I would let off the throttle, and it would start grinding. I'm like, what the fuck is that? This doesn't make any sense. So I went back to the shop, and I'm like taking it apart, and all of a sudden I find a spring just in a bag in my Jeep, and I'm like, oh no. So I got the advanced adapters kit, so it's got the replacement tail shaft. I pulled that off, and I'm like, maybe I can just get this in there. Nope. Had to split the fucking case half. So I was just casually sitting there drinking beers and pulling the case half out underneath my Jeep. Just like split the whole transfer case under there while I'm drinking beers. And then I realized that I'm shit tanked and I like grabbed the RTV and just super gobbed it back together, slapped it all back together, and the case hasn't been apart until I took it apart when I was rebuilding the Jeep the last round because it was on the floor and it looked like an RTV monster had just like went around the whole case. So I scraped all that out and put it back together. But yeah, no, they're great. They're troopers.
So, have any of you guys done the SYE both ways? You like under the Jeep
Yes.
versus pulling it?
I
Yep.
haven't done it under the Jeep. I've always pulled the case.
I've
Yeah.
done it under the Jeep
Barbarian.
and I will do it again.
See, I feel differently. I've done it both ways, and I would much rather pull the case.
However, I do also have 4 inches of lift with 40s, and I jacked the whole thing up, so both axles were about 8 inches higher. So that right there is probably what made my experience comfortable, because I could just sit under it and like.
Right.
When you-
So in my Jeep, I can sit upright, like with my head in the transmission tunnel. Now, granted, I'm not a tall person, but
yeah,
like
midget.
I could probably
You're like
do it
3
again on
feet
my
tall.
Jeep. Hey, somebody's got to do it. So
So I have a question.
They
When you
act
put
like
your
either of
seat-
them. Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah, they act like they're tall.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are like the same exact height as me or Graham, so eat shit.
No,
I'm not tall.
no.
He's taller. Luke is
not
taller
gonna-
than me, but not by too much.
What? There's no fucking way because there's.
I'm
Luke-
sure all of you are taller than me.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
How tall are you? Okay, let's.
5'5", with his boots
5'.
on, maybe 5'7".
I am 5'4.5".
Okay, yeah, so that's a pretty good guess. That's
You
not
were
bad.
that was pretty close. Yep.
Yep.
So yes, we are taller. Yes, that's
5'11".
Well, I'm 5'10", so I mean that's why you don't seem that much taller than me, I guess, because my hair is probably that extra inch. Like,
Yeah. So, God.
Transfer cases. We're building them under the Jeep.
Yes.
Let's pull it together here.
Nope, we are gone. Sorry.
I could see how you could build a case underneath a Jeep, but it's like it takes 2 seconds to take the 6 bolts off and yank it off, and then put it on. Even just taking it out, dragging it into your driveway, and gutting it is easier than dealing with
Right.
Yeah,
half the
and-
case still on there, in my opinion.
I did not have a problem when I redid it. Like I said, I was able to do it half drunk to fully drunk. So I would do it again.
It's not difficult. It's like it's just a baby puzzle.
So-
You just put the gears in and the chain in and slap.
I
it
mean,
together
also
and-
it depends on what I'm working on. If we
It
were
also-
talking about, oh, sorry.
Well, I was going
Go
to say
on.
it also depends on the condition of the case. So my problem that I've found is I've done quite a few SYEs where I find that there's a bearing that's bad or a seal that's bad or something else that I find that I'm like, hey, we should change this while it's in here. And now I have a case that's like half full of liquid that's dripping all over me, and I have to pull it out with all the pieces trying to fall on top of me. Because
Yeah.
now we need to do a bearing, and I'd much rather do the bearing on the bench.
No, we
So I
Actually,
end up
you know
pulling it
what?
anyway.
I will also say this. Another thing that worked in my favor that's probably giving me rose-colored glasses about this is I had just taken the case apart and it was already SYE'd. If it wasn't SYE'd to begin with,
what were
it
you
probably
taking it
would have
apart?
been
Oh, just for the spring. That's right.
for
Yeah,
that
that's
spring.
Crazy.
Yeah. So if I wasn't in that position where I had literally just taken it apart and I was doing it fresh, it probably would have sucked. And like I was saying earlier, if we were talking about doing it under, say, Kish's rig or Cody's rig, I probably would have pulled the case just to make it easier to put it in my lap and then put
I'm
it
not
into
excited.
the.
I'm not excited to pull my case. Speaking of that, but yeah, I don't blame you. With
are you
ours are a
talking
bit lower. I don't know.
It's
I haven't
easy.
done one before, and it just seems like a cunt. There's so many bolts all the way around it.
No,
It's
no, no, no,
underneath.
no.
It's heavy.
You take a 14 millimeter ratcheting wrench that doesn't have
Yeah.
this. That's not like a play school style with a half-inch fucking like
yeah, I know what you mean.
gap
yeah,
between the actual
around
center
it. Yeah,
section and the outside,
Yep.
so you can actually
Yep.
fit it in there. And you take them all off, and there's like one that's tight near the bottom, I think, on the driver's side, and other the
Yeah,
top
mine.
one. You might
On
need to-
mine, the wrench doesn't fit in there with the 14 millimeter ratcheting wrench I have. So for that one, that is the only one that I get off with the normal wrench.
Yep. Once you do
Yeah.
that, though, it just you get it, yank it off. It weighs like I don't know how much do you think those things weigh?
45 pounds, maybe.
Yeah, nothing.
I,
crazy.
I was just gonna say 45, 50.
You can do it by
Yeah.
yourself in like an hour,
Kish,
probably less.
this is the time where I get to go and insult you and Cody at the same time. So, how come you haven't put your fucking case in? I was tripping over it for a fucking year at the shop. Cody, go get your case from
I
Brand.
just got mine. It's
His was delivered to him on a silver platter, and the price was just a 14 bolt. We took
No,
a
I
14 bolt out of his truck.
I still owe you cash as well, so don't act like I'm just fucking running away with a case for a 14 bolt, okay? Unless you want to, then I'll fucking take it. But still, I mean,
I don't
but
know.
yeah,
I just
I think-
figured that thing's been in there, and I knew you had a 10.5, and
Yeah.
Jacob's looking for axles. So when Brandon came down with your truck, I was like, that axle's been in there for at least a year and a half. If he wants to get rid of it, we could do that. And he was like, well, I'm trying to get the case like for his, as a surprise because I couldn't get him anything for his birthday. And I was like, yeah, but he'll figure it out eventually, and we should call him, and it'd be another birthday present to get that axle out of his truck.
oh, dude, that was the best. That was the best birthday present I could ever hear. Was that I was getting rid of that 14 bolt. Like, yes, I could have put it up on Facebook, and like anybody could have came and gotten it, but like, I didn't want to move it. It's so fucking heavy, I
Yeah, we
didn't
literally
like
just
deal
backed
with
the
it.
truck in, chained it up with the lift arm on the lift, and picked it up like an inch, dragged it out, or pulled the truck out, dropped it on the ground, and it was done. Then we put it on the back of Jacob's flatbed, and we'll figure out what to do with it from there.
Perfect. Enjoy.
And in response to you, Luke, A, it's not been a year, and B, I'm sorry my life got busy.
Listen, I don't give a shit you had a kid, and it's been a year at this
You should have
point.
said fuck
That's
trophy.
when I
No,
was fucking-
no, because
yes,
Does
he have a
yes,
case?
yes.
that case was not on the floor until after after Roush.
Okay, does this case have an
Okay,
SYE?
8.5 months. It's got an SYE. It's got a Dodge truck planetary in it, and it's got the wide
What?
chain.
Why the fuck aren't you using that, Richie?
I was busy.
That's
Because
like literally
he
what
is
the best
lame.
you could
SYEs
ask
are
for.
overrated. SYEs are dumb.
No,
You
dude, like it's
You don't.
such a basic thing you should do
You don't
to every
need them.
231.
Yeah.
They're not even. I mean,
Listen, Cody. Cody, bitch.
You don't need it.
I don't want to. I don't want
If
to talk
you're
like.
running my hack shaft. I literally hacked that shaft to shit and threw it together for you, so I
Guess
don't want to hear it.
Guess what? It is bent like a banana, and that thing still runs fucking flat. I swear to God, there's no vibration from it. And that thing is bowed more than like I was gonna say a penis.
It's probably
but
more than
like
probably more than mine. My
It's bad.
my drive shaft was like it just got a tiny ding in it, and now it just that old Adams rides like shit. And I haven't driven it with the new one, so we'll see.
I just gotta say that it's kind of funny because, for reference, the shaft that I am talking about, we were getting it ready to go to Badlands, so we literally cut it in a metal like chop saw, and then we ground the weld off of the other end, hammered it back in, rotated it in the vise, said looks good enough, and I had him twisting the shaft while I was welding it to get the fucking flange back on. And
Hey,
it's been like
if it's
that
just
for
gotta
about
work.
a year and change.
dude, it's perfect though. Like in all honesty though, you did a great job. Like it's really fucking good.
I better see you blow that fucking thing out of it at Roush because Lord knows you're not going to put the SYE in this week.
I am. It's in the plans.
It's in the back of his truck. He better put it in.
It's in the back of my Jeep.
No, it's in the
there.
back of the truck, so like that's going to be good for another 6 to 8
No,
months.
no, it's out of the truck, guys. I promise. It's in the back of the Jeep.
Do you
So
have
that
a
means-
rear drive or a front drive shaft to work with it?
I do.
That's not absolutely clapped.
It is.
Are you
not
driving it or are
flat.
you towing it? You're probably.
Why
towing
would I
it, right?
fucking drive it?
No, maybe you
What
want to
the
be cool
fuck?
for once in your life. Like,
Well, when you're sitting there and you're like, damn, I want a pancake in the morning, and I'm sitting there inside the nice fucking enclosed trailer cooking up
Listen,
pancakes. I'm like, this is why I,
I
didn't
don't
drive my
need the
shit by.
pancake. I'll work it off, and the pancake
Granola
is
bars
irrelevant.
and fucking
Yeah, exactly.
Bud Lights.
The pancake is nice, but if I don't
Just drive
have the
the Jeep.
pancake, it's no skin off my nose.
Oh no, I say always drive the Jeep. I've literally only trailered my Jeep to one wheeling event ever.
No,
I drive it to
Okay,
everything.
well,
I drive it to Roush. I drive it to the Badlands.
one strike.
I drive it up to New
You
Hampshire.
only have 3, so
Well, I sold the Chevy, so I ain't trailing it again.
So we're gonna see you at Roush, right?
well, you're
Labor
Day
not
weekend.
gonna see him. Oh, never mind. I thought we were talking about
I'm
Badlands.
not?
'Cause we've been talking about Badlands the entire
He's
fucking
not
time.
gonna-
Person that
dude, Luke's not gonna be there. We know that, so he ain't gonna see him there anyways.
the only reason I'm not gonna be there is a person that I'm talking to in this podcast chat.
Oh, it'll be done. If it needs to be done by a certain time, it'll get fucking done. We need to
Probably
get
gonna
the Jeep,
hate
though.
myself, but
And we need to do some more coordination, but in due time. It'll
in
show
due
up.
time. I'm excited to see that happen because you've got creative license with it. There's a couple of key points that I want done, and everything else is up to your discretion.
Me and Jacob have some ideas for it. I mean, I literally bought a bead roller to do my floor, and then with the time crunch, I just and with the 16 gauge that we were using, right? Obviously, I was trying to find 18 gauge, but
Right. I was gonna say that's a little thick.
yeah, it is. The metal market I go to in Woburn was they didn't have any 18 gauge in like a 4x4 foot, which is basically exactly
Did you say
what I needed.
Woburn?
Yeah,
Is that the name of
Woburn.
the town?
That's the name
Woburn?
of a town, Woburn.
What the fuck? God damn,
Woburn.
Massachusetts people.
Woburn. Yeah, so
Woburn.
they didn't have it. They only had 16 gauge, and they had like a really ratty piece and like a half ratty piece. So I took the less ratty piece, and I was supposed to be paying like $8 a foot for 2, but they ended up giving me like 2 extra sticks of 8-foot because they couldn't get me all my 10-foot sticks. They were just like, "Here, take this. It's got a little bit of marring on the end." I was like, "Okay." So it ended up being like 6.5, which in the climate of materials right now is not fucking bad.
Yeah.
I've still got a shitload left over from that, but so I ended up not doing the bead rolling stuff because of that, because it was 16 gauge and I was trying to get it done quickly, and otherwise I would have done some, at least done something on like the outer boat side panels. I think I would have probably done an X or like done a square or something simple, right? Because I just want to use it. I bought the thing. I want to use it. So on Luke's Jeep, we're gonna get the right size gauge or right gauge metal, and we're gonna bead roll it and make it look nice because you got a little bit of time, hopefully.
That'd be pretty dope.
It needs a
love
little
bead
bit of
rolls.
tube work based on what I saw, but nothing crazy. We'll just sheet metal it. Jacob wants to get a sheet metal brace.
One thing that I do
Right.
want to add for the minor electrical, if you could throw
Oh.
a switch.
This guy
Oh.
just keeps piling on.
Yep,
Every
throw
time,
a switch on the
No, pile it on.
neutral safety switch, so that way I can have that fixed because it keeps not being happy when it's
Oh. You should
engaged.
you should wire it into the 4-way, so that way, like, it's like a safety switch, so you can just leave the keys in it, and unless somebody knows it, they have to press like and depress it to get it to go on. That's cool.
Yep. Something like that, and then we had already talked about wiring in the trailer lights that I got for it because they're just the LEDs.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then we had talked about, I don't know if we had talked about, but just putting a bridge between the central cross member legs and the the mini cross members in the rear.
And once we have it in the shop, I'll shoot you messages probably throughout the
Yeah.
entire thing, because I'm not going to remember like half of the things you want done to it. So it's
I'm
just gonna
sorry
be a
that I
back and
left
forth.
such a shit show.
It's just
and
the
that's
fact
to
that
you
there's
and
no
Kish.
floor, but it's fine because I've got practice. I built my center section. I can build your rear section. And then
Yep.
will have a reference for when I do mine. Not that there's anything left. It's already cut out, but
I'm already coming up with ways to try and get a sway bar in the front because I'm thinking that I might put a factory sway bar back in the front with just quick disconnect mounts because I
Why
got the
don't you do that?
coilovers in the rear.
why don't you just put a Like
Because the mounts are already there.
Anti-rock in the back, and be done with
Because the
it.
mounts are already there, and I have the front sway bar.
Yeah, but like,
Hmm.
just do the bling bling thing for once. Just do one thing, one nice thing.
Okay, so the coilovers, the tons, and all that stuff doesn't count.
Correct.
They're
Okay.
rad flows. That's not bling bling.
Oh, man.
Not even rad flags. Let's keep.
Well, they're not even
straight.
Fox.
Hey, at least his are in though. Yours look really pretty sitting on the ground.
Oh no, they look great in my my bedroom at my parents' house. They look amazing. I look at them every night I go home.
It's like my 4-link. It looks awesome in my attic.
Yeah, Jeremy. When are you actually going to get that in, Jeremy? So
Probably
we need
never. The
Is it a-
freaking leaf
let me
springs work
buy it.
awesome.
I know,
Let me
I'm
buy
in the
it
same
then.
boat.
Hey,
Sell it.
I'd consider selling it. I got the cross member, the skid plate, and the links.
Oh, you gotta do it going down.
What brand?
Clayton.
Oh yes, Send me the invoice. I got you. I'll come pick them up.
It's literally
Voice.
it's
Oh,
literally
and
the
Graham
first
has
set they
the
ever made.
truss.
Yeah, but you don't want mine though. It's fucked.
Yeah,
So-
you could clean that up.
No, I've dented the square tube piece. Like it's ripping
No,
welds.
no,
out of the
no.
thing.
I'm saying the truss that came with the ducky axles.
Oh yeah, I do still have that. Yep.
Would that
Yeah.
work though? I feel like my
It's
two.
a
It worked on your
Clayton truss.
10.5. It was on a 10.5.
No, we set it up for the Dana 44 because we're never actually doing the 1 tons. Come on, guys.
Okay,
we
well you
talked
can do
about
that
this.
too.
Actually,
Angle
hey, do you
grinders
have-
are a thing.
I'll trade you my 05 plus tons for that 4-link kit.
Ooh, that's tempting. Although I already have a 60.
Yeah, but these are
so,
05 plus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would. All right, we might have some.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
Hey, you want to
Wait a
get
minute.
300 too?
You get to sell them all the crap parts here.
Cody, I'll come over there and slap you. It might be 14 hours, but the sound of the back of my hand hitting your face would be absolutely worth it if you don't put those tons under there.
Oh, I
All
will.
that
but I mean,
effort to teach you.
I have
Yeah.
I have a guy. He's getting 2 more trucks at the end of this year, so I'll just have to
Okay,
wait till the end of
okay,
this year to get
okay.
more tons.
Fair.
But so
No, you don't need tons. I'll throw in an extra high pinion 30 and an 8 1/4.
Ooh,
Yeah, you got a
well,
spare set of
take it in
axles?
Dana.
Of course, I have a spare set of axles. I run a
Well, no,
Dana
I'm
30
saying
and an 8
like for
1/4.
Cody, right? He does spare set axles, he'd be good to go. You know, Dana 300 blows up, no big deal. Axles blow up, just throw the other one in, right?
On
Issue-
trail. That'd be great. Oh shit.
Yeah, my issue was when I blew up my 30, my only spare axles were the Dana 50 and the 10.5, so I was kind of fucked. I had to go ahead and
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I love my little axles though, but I definitely think I think the cage will be coming before the tons. No doubt in my mind.
I know that's definitely going to be the case with my Jeep. It's getting a cage before it's going to get tons. Just because I've already like dented the rain rail and like almost popped another window, and
Yeah.
You doing a hybrid interior? What you thinking?
oh, definitely a hybrid cage. I just don't know if I want to do like
Roast.
the welder kit or do the who's the other one that makes like A to Z Fab or something, or I don't know. There's a couple different.
So
So-
John Bryant, a guy in our club, just picked up a Welder D kit,
Mhm.
so it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. I don't
Jeremy.
know what that looks like, but I'm curious because it seems like,
It
from what I understand,
looks-
it's a better kit than the. You forgot
You
the
got,
name,
like-
though I forgot the name.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe.
DNC Fab? No,
DNC.
not DNC.
I don't know.
feel like it's Fab Work.
No, it's all
the
Fabworks.
the one
It's-
Mark's got.
Yeah.
My brain's not
Yeah.
working.
What did he get? Because I was just looking at his the other day. At
I have no
Cabela's.
idea. I literally have no idea.
So
it's literally it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's the other one. There's 2 big ones. It's
yeah,
Welder
the
D
the
and-
Welder D is supposed to be like,
Exofab.
Exofab. There we
Exofab.
go. There
Yep.
we go.
and I think that's what his is Exofab.
Yeah, Mark has
I
the
just don't like how
Exofab.
high it sits. It sits so high on the front. I want it.
I feel
like
like,
my
you
tube
could
work
probably
tight.
change that.
You probably could,
Like
but
you could
no. But I've
fine
seen
tune
a
that
lot
down.
of people do it that way, and it's not.
Yeah,
I don't think it's necessarily a fault of the builder. I think it's partially the kit to
Yeah.
some extent, and it's a
No, for
Cherokee
sure.
roof too, right? You can't get it low enough to have it sit on the edges nice without bending it more than they give you bends for. And if you don't have a bender, you're shit out of luck.
right. Well, and that's my kind of dilemma now. Is I mean, I have the Comanche that's going to need tube work. My Jeep's going to need tube work, and it's like, do I spend that much money on?
You borrow my bender because I'm not gonna have use for it for the next 2 to 3 months, and then I grab
you
it
go.
back at Roush.
So
So hop to it, Bucko.
I got to finish the rest of the Comanche first.
Can I get dibs on that afterwards? Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
This
If you
musical-
can figure out how to get
musical
it down
two-bender?
to Tennessee,
You put it in the back
then
of the
yes.
truck. That's
Yeah, I
what
could
it is
just-
on there.
I throw it in the back of Graham's vehicle when he goes down to Kentucky at the end of the year.
I mean, I've been wanting to go to Nashville, so like I'll make a reason to go to Tennessee.
Yeah, come down. We got a shooting range like quarter of a mile from my house, or not a quarter of a mile, about a quarter of an hour, and then we have Windrock that is like just nice, super close to me.
Definitely
so,
want
like,
to check out Windrock too.
Same.
Although,
And,
do I
like,
want to drive my Jeep that far?
You pride yourself on driving your Jeep, so that right there is the ultimate stamp of accomplishment.
So
No,
we have
even that distance is like for wheeling has got me like, okay, well I can find a trailer, I can make my truck tow, like we could make
Nope,
it happen.
nope, nope.
Nope, I would drive. I would 100% do it.
Well, I guess if
I
Luke's
would-
in Tennessee, if I really break it, I could just drive however far it is from him, and
I could just fix it
Fix
in his
it.
trailer park. It'll be great.
I work from home anyway, so as long as I bring my as long as I bring my laptop and he's got half decent internet, I could just pretend
got
like
gig
nothing's
internet.
wrong for a couple weeks and fix it.
I got gig internet, man.
Ooh,
Life
there you
is
go.
good here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get better internet in Tennessee than I would ever get in Connecticut. Connecticut, 500 megs is the limit. Down here, we got gig.
Hey, no, it's
In
not.
your
I got
trailer.
fiber into my house.
No, I'm saying where I was, Torrington.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, fiber
So-
is the way to go.
yeah, but hard to find.
Is it? I don't know. Both my apartments, I guess
I don't have it.
Well,
I-
yeah, if you live
I'm
in
in
a
a-
populated,
I'm in a
Nah,
major
so-
area and I don't even have it. I live in fucking Springfield for Christ's sake, and
I
there's
don't
no
know.
fiber
Deal
here.
with your dial up and shut up. We don't want to
No,
hear
I got dial up. Yeah, you fucking.
it.
As your
I'm just
parents
over
say,
here
the kid is
chilling
working.
with in the middle of nowhere in my little trailer hood with gig.
yeah, that's pretty
one
cool.
way to do it. Yeah, but the
So-
gig up and down, that's the difference. Fiber's usually
It's-
up. It's like up and down. They
It's
give you-
fiber.
Oh, it is
It's
fiber.
fast
No,
as
but
fuck,
you just
boy.
said it was coax earlier.
Sorry, I would be
It
incorrect.
goes through the
It's
phone
gig,
line.
but
It's
yes.
cable.
Yep, it is cable. I'm
so
sorry.
you probably have one. Probably have gigabit down, theoretical, and something else up. It's probably not the same upload as it is download. That's how they get you. Is it
I'm
Comcast or
having-
Xfinity? This is like totally unrelated to wheeling, but this is
Well, I feel like
these
given
are
the
the
fact,
important things.
I feel like given the fact that we've covered a shit ton of wheeling topics, we're doing okay, and the fact that I just moved cross country, a little bit of variance is allowed.
Yeah.
But no, it's Spectrum.
Oh, okay.
So
I know of them. I don't
Yeah,
know if I've
it's-
used them.
pretty chad.
They suck balls. I had them before. They're horrible.
Well, it depends on where you get them because
They
That's
don't
the thing
suck
with
as
cable
much as
companies is-
Frontier.
I was gonna say I heard horrible things about Frontier, but where I live, Frontier is the one with fiber, and I have the cheapest plan they sell at 200 up, 200 down, and it's awesome. So, like,
So,
I think it depends a
Jeremy-
lot on where you are.
What's it gonna take to make you into a gamer again?
Well, I'd have to plug my desktop back in for starters.
Or do you want to sell your desktop?
No,
Okay. Hey,
nobody would want to buy my desktop. I built it in 2012.
What's the graphics card in it?
It's a GSX 980 or something.
Fuck,
At
that's
the
worth it.
time,
I'll buy
at the
it.
time, it was like hot shit.
Yeah, I guess so. That's
All right.
still better than what you can get nowadays. Anyways,
It's you know,
sorry.
On that note, I will agree that we're probably getting a little far
I
off
got like
the
one more
path.
wheeling related thing.
All right,
I want
too.
shoot.
okay. So anybody who like even partially follows me on some social media platform may have seen the slider I've been doing on this purple Jeep that I've been working on, and
That does look sick.
I'm looking for criticism on it because I like it, but it's probably partially because I spent a good portion of a day cutting all those fucking tubes and mocking it up. I think it looks pretty unique, and I think I may do a bar, like a kicker bar off of it, sort of like a slider. But for people who don't know what it looks like, I got a piece of 2x2 that is sitting where the factory rocker would go. I've got about 6 kickers of 2 because it's a piece of 2x2. It's not a 2x4 or a 2x6. It's not nearly as strong as you'd get with a 2x6 or a 2x4 in a beam with some bars going down to it. So I've got 6 kickers off of that between the leaf shackle mount, the forward leaf shackle mount or leaf mount, and the front of the frame rail. I've got those all going down with a bend in it to keep the floor intact. Because if you don't bend it, you have to you have to like notch the floor almost.
Yep,
And I
that's
didn't
how
wanna
I
do
did
that
my
'cause
last bet.
I just did the the carpet. We just redid the floor on the thing. I didn't want to cut into the floor after we had just fixed it.
Do you want me to be nice, or do you want me to give you the meme answer?
Give me. I don't know. Don't be
All
nice.
right.
Criticize it. I'm looking for criticism. If
All
I
right,
wanted
it
you to
looks
be
like
nice, I would have asked.
If you're
Because
gonna
I think it looks
put
great.
if you're gonna put the fucking kicker bar on there, it's gonna look like you've spent a shit ton of time and effort to have knockoff shitty built sliders that just happen to fit into the rocker panel. But
That hurts, but you're right.
So I definitely
You
just
asked for
glanced at one of the
criticism.
photos, like didn't look that close, but when I saw it, I thought it looked pretty badass.
Okay, cool.
it does look
I'll
really
take it.
nice.
It looks really good.
I actually
It took a
like the idea
long
of-
fucking time to cut all those things out because the way and I feel like with Cherokees, you think like, oh, it's the measurements are the same front to back on the body on the
Nope.
frame. It is not at all. It was like subtle differences for each one, and it took a shitload of time. And to get those to actually sit flush with the floor, right? I could have easily gotten. There's actually, if you look close in the pictures, the second one down is, and it's gone now, so you can't actually look at it. But the second one down is a little fucked up, but it's only because I welded it in wrong, and they're all tack welded. So I'll fix that, and then it'll be flush with the rocker bar that I've got in the frame. But I don't know. It's definitely different, and I got a couple people who actually commented on it and said, I've never seen anybody do it like that, and it looks sweet. And I was like, oh, yeah, it sort of just came up with it on the fly, but
I mean, it looks pretty good.
thanks. All right, well, I'll take it then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
gonna
realistically pretty damn good. I'm kind of against the idea of the kickers because if the whole idea on it was to make it look like it was somewhat close to factory, I feel like it really looks good as it is.
Yeah, and that's
And,
fair.
like-
But it's not my Jeep, so I'm gonna.
If the dude wants kickers, put
If he
the
wants
kickers
the
on
kickers
for
on
him.
it, I'll put him on it.
The other criticism I have is it seems like it'd be very hard to land the A-pillar mount on.
Yes, that is another concern. I don't know if that eventually he does want to do a cage. I don't know within what time frame that is, but that will make the A pillar a little more complicated.
So
I'm-
you could definitely build a little platform off of it though, and
Yep.
like land the A-pillar bar like on the little platform because my buddy's Comanche, that's how his was set up. And I mean, I don't know. You can always add more
Yeah.
steel.
Yeah, exactly, and that's sort of where I'm at. Is if I needed to set it up so a bar could hit the rocker or something close to the rocker, I could put a chunk of metal in between where the rocker ends now and the frame rail and butt it up to that put a kicker off of it if I really wanted to go crazy with it, and it would be plenty strong. But it's not as simple as a 2x6 or a 2x5, right? That's sitting in there, and you just weld it to it. And that was definitely initially a concern, but
I mean, respectfully, I think that it's going to come out pretty damn decent either way. Like, I'm not seeing any major issues with it, and even with what I had said, you could probably, like you were just talking about, modify it a little bit.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was it's definitely overbuilt. It's overbuilt for sure, but I like overbuilding.
Overbuilt is better than underbuilt.
I agree. I mean, I got so for reference, it's like 2 tack welds on each end of each tube, and the thing doesn't it wiggles a little bit because it's got a lot of weight on it downwards, and it was forced up where it shouldn't have been, and the sheet metal is actually pushing against it. But other than that, it doesn't move, which is, I don't know. Fully welded, just not going anywhere, which was also a concern because it's kind of like the tube. I don't know, something about just a 6-inch to 8-inch piece of tube with a heavier piece that it's supporting. Just for me, has always felt like non-structural. But I guess if you've got enough surface area and enough gussets, it doesn't matter, right?
I mean, it all works together. It builds
Yeah.
a system. This system is strong. As a
And it's
singular
going to be
piece.
connected to that whole top of the unibody is going to get sort of Frenched into the existing piece. It doesn't look that good right now, but once we're done, stitching that in and making it work, it'll be part of the body.
Right.
Right now, it's sort of a foreign entity that's just connected to the frame rail, not to the actual body. But yeah, I guess another connection there at the top it's going to be strong. I just looking at it, you're like, that's not that strong. And I mean, I could see.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll
The
be
only other
fine.
criticism I can come up with is you're using 1/8-inch tube to tie the slider in, so those are going to eventually just form into the floorboard.
But also, how hard does he wheel? What is his plans for wheeling? It all matters on what the person themselves wants.
Yeah, he wants to wheel, but I don't believe it'll ever be at a level that my Jeep or Colin's Jeep ever sees. Right? The thing it's off-roaded. No, I don't know if this one has. He had another one that we put parts on for this one. That was the whole thing. We swapped parts from the old one to this one. Some things were done wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that this one's been continuously in the build process throughout the entire time I've known about it.
It's been a driver, and it's been being built. When it's done at Jacob's shop, and where we're working on it, we want it to be in a state where it is, a comfortable wheeler where you don't have to worry about. I mean, it's got a 60 and a 14 bolt. You shouldn't have to worry about it braking with 37s, which is what it's on. But there's some things that were not done well on it, and we've addressed majority of those at this point. So he does want to off-road, and I assume he probably wants to come out with us at least once or twice, but I don't know how aggressive he's going to be with the thing. But it definitely won't be nearly as consistent as, my Jeep or Colin's Jeep or Luke's Jeep or Cody's Jeep, right? I don't think it's going to beat at that level. So I'm not overly concerned about it not being
You did great.
the best way.
Don't stress it, man. You did great.
No, I just wanted criticism on it because it was different than. I don't know if, like I said, it's just.
All right.
It was against the grain, but we'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there, and at this point in time, it's time for me to go and throw some more shade at Jeremy. Do your fucking sliders already, will you?
Yeah, we're getting there.
We don't need them.
Shut up,
No.
Cody. You
Oh, no, we definitely need 'em.
in a 44.
No.
Leave it alone.
We definitely need them.
No, you don't need it.
Yeah, you do. You need them.
You don't need.
The front of the Comanche is done. The sliders are done. We rolled it out so that I could put a transmission in my Jeep, put coils in my Volkswagen, and do brakes on an Audi and another Jeep. And then we're rolling it in, and we're cutting the back of the frame off, and we're going to finish the back. And once the back of his,
So
the
you
Comanche's
finally
done,
accepted reason.
once the
Thank
back
you.
of the Comanche's done, already have all the material. I got to finish the Comanche before I do sliders on my Cherokee. So
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. I got to finish that one first. So once the
that's
Comanche
fair
is
enough.
done, then I'll do the sliders. So I have literally everything to do it. Unfortunately, at this point, the rockers are so mangled that I'm going to have to actually do some work in order to make the sliders go on, because I have 2x6 and then I have 2x2 for tie-ins.
I had to take a piece of angle iron and clamp my bent up piece of mangled door paneling and all that jazz
Mhm.
and hit it with a sledgehammer to get it back into position to be able to weld mine in.
Yeah, mine are. So my Jeep has no rust, so I'm lucky there. But the rocker panels are so bent that I've started to mangle the actual door sill behind the edge of the door, because I never wheel with the doors on. So I bent the rocker panels up so far that the door sill is actually getting mangled at this point. So
Dang. That's cool.
yeah, it's gonna need some actual work, and
Yeah,
So-
I folded mine in to the point where my passenger door, the window track is bent, and the whole bottom seam is bent in, so it's sledgehammered out. But whenever water gets in there, it just shoots in past the door because the bottom of the door is mangled.
oh yeah. No, the rocker panel is hidden by the door when I put the doors back on because it's up so high.
And Kish, I know you had said that you had something else wheeling related to add, so
Yeah, Mark's rig actually fucks. Yeah.
I saw the videos. It was going up some stuff that we were having trouble on, and it didn't look like it was any drier than it was.
No, it was literally raining.
Oh,
Wow.
So it was even worse.
Yeah, it was literally actively raining for an hour and a half out of the 2 hours that we were out there. And he has now done every single obstacle at my house. And he has the record time for quite a few of those obstacles.
he's done
right
every
now.
single obstacle.
What about
Oh?
the one? What about
Well,
the one that
sorry.
Colin just blew his
Sorry.
window out on? Did he do that
Yeah,
one?
did he do that
Okay.
one? Because I mean, come on, I've got the
That
running
one just
theme for that one.
destroys.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're a
So-
He
buggy.
seemed smarter than that to go for that
No,
stupid line.
I didn't even show him that line just because
Oh, so
I've
then you're gonna
never.
make false
Hold on,
claims
hold
here.
Hold on. I'm putting my foot in my mouth right now, so fuck off. So I've never actually seen anyone do that, except
You
the
spotted
first
me up
time
at.
that you saw. Except for the first time that you did it.
What are you talking about? I'm pretty
Okay.
sure Mike Craig made it up it in his buggy.
I have only seen people winch up it.
Wait, I thought.
He spotted me up at once.
But you had a winch.
I'm talking about the time that I didn't have to winch because I did that twice. I had to winch once, and
Oh,
the other
yeah,
time
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't.
I mean, as
And
long
you
as you don't
spotted me both
slide
times.
too far to the right,
Well,
you're fine.
So regardless
that's
of
the
the fact,
issue.
I didn't think it was a good idea for just me and him to try to have him tackle that.
Oh, I don't blame you at all. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
You know, I
Especially
thought
considering the track record of that obstacle. Yeah. Probably
exactly.
Yeah, no. That is the one time that I made it. I was on rev limiter before I even got close to that stump, and I just stayed in it.
Yeah.
That's sort of what you
But
have to do.
that and the waterfall at the Devils, whatever it is.
Oh, he didn't go up it?
Then-
No, he tried. He got denied.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a pretty fucked up obstacle, so I don't
Which
blame him
one's
for
the
He,
waterfall?
wanting to do that.
he put in a valiant
Oh.
effort.
The one that you one-shotted.
And the
But
double,
it's
the
never-
double,
Oh, okay, yeah.
the
yeah,
I've
double
only
broken
one-shotted
output.
it twice.
And
Yep.
then that spot that you guys always just bump it up in between the two trees at the back ledges there.
Yep.
He tried like 6 or 7 times, but his front end just did not want to climb up it.
No, that
It's-
spot is
it's-
getting bad. It does. Like,
It's
it used
almost
to
as
be-
if there was a couple 43-inch holes right at the fucking bottom of it. That were all mud.
Yeah.
Miguel.
Couldn't be Miguel. No way.
Let's just blame Bray.
But yeah, no, like
Yeah.
the back ledges, he actually made it up in like less than a minute and a half.
Nice.
He went
that
up it
obstacle's-
once, got denied, backed up 3 feet, got it the second time.
That obstacle is always, it's frustratingly difficult because it doesn't look like it should be difficult. You should be able to hit it from anywhere you want and just make it up. But there's so much loose dirt and shit that it just
Yeah, it's
always
literally
gets you.
only it's going to get better. It might get worse, like as far as the obstacle, but excuse me, for the traction, it's going to get far better the more times that it gets ran through.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I see
See-
pictures of people's Jeeps on it, and mine and others, and it's always just, it doesn't look that impressive. But when you're actually there and in it, and you've been sitting there for, 5-10 minutes trying to move somehow forward and not take the bypass, it gets frustrating. That one's a real
See-
mental game.
That's actually kind of the flip side of Mark's perspective. Every time because he wanted to walk every obstacle first just to figure out what he was doing because it was
Mhm.
just me and him. And every time he's like, "Are you sure my Jeep will make it up this? It looks really difficult." I'm like, "Yeah, you'll be fine. You have a
So-
working winch.
Well,
Fuck it."
he's at a stage where I feel that his rig outperforms him, and he's learning what it's capable of.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
Yeah.
it's a crazy. There's some learning and that has to happen to get you to that point, which is why, like when Jeremy was mentioning earlier that he wants a cage before he does 1-tons, like I wish I had gone that route almost, because when you put 1-tons under something and you actually have a decent suspension and bigger tires, like it really changes the lines that are open to you, and because your axles are bigger and you've got more meat and all the
Yeah.
important places that blow up, your rig suddenly becomes way more capable, and then you're doing stuff that's just stupid to be doing without a cage, and then it's a safety factor that is just in your brain that's keeping you from going to the fullest potential. So
Yeah,
I think-
that's definitely how I feel now, is like I'm pushing kind of the limits of what I can do on the 35s, but I'm also getting myself in like very off camber situations where like I have to use the rain rail in order to prevent the Jeep from flopping.
Mhm.
And I'm rubbing it into a tree in order to get the line.
yeah,
And I'm like, I should probably be on 37s or 38s to do this, but I'm trying it on 35s anyway. And I don't want to flop the thing or get hurt.
yeah, that was for me, it was eye opening because I started doing stupid things, and it was like I
Yeah, like
can't push it. And Luke was there. I remember you telling me not to do certain things when I was at a point where I knew the Jeep could do it, but if I
there's
was
a
to mess up
video
as a
I
driver,
at Ma Bell of me like telling you to just cut it because you were doing you were trying really hard and you were like pulling your front end up in the air and stuff, and I'm like, dude, you do realize that if this thing does not come back down, it's not going to be pretty. It might feel like you're planted, but you're not. And it took a lot for me to. I went from a really agile Jeep to like this big heavy thing that like fucked in the woods. But there's a lot of fucking mass there that if it wants to get going, it's going to get going. So I'm totally down with the idea of a cage first. And like I recommend that for Cody because Cody likes to fuck.
Yeah, cage is definitely needed.
But
I support that.
I feel like we covered a shit ton of stuff. It was a really nice episode to pick back up off of.
Oh yeah,
Anyone got anything else or
I'm all set.
all set?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think make sure you put your cage in before you do your wontons, and make sure you've got some rock sliders and don't just use the factory unibody rockers. Cody.
Looking at you, Cody.
Fuck you.